All right, guys. Dreadnought's back today with another review, and we're going to be looking at the Star Wars The Black Series Kylo Ren Kmart exclusive Starkiller base. Looking very cool in this packaging, and I'm super excited to finally have my hands on this figure. I like what Hasbro did here. Some nice artwork here, reminiscent of what we've seen already in the waves, but you can see the trees drawn in here behind. The figure as well in the red here. Just very nice. I like that attention to detail, and it's something that we've already seen in the trailer. So looking cool there. On the side, we've got some lettering in here that we've seen, on the Amazon exclusive before. And then on this side here, of course, no figure number, but it does say Kylo Ren Starkiller base there. And there's a look at the back with the bio. If you want to pause it and take a look at that now, you can do so. So let's crack this bad boy open and get a look at it. And here's Kylo Ren out of the packaging. Looking pretty cool overall, I got to say. I like this look. I know a lot of people complained last time with the previous version having soft goods. I'm not one of those guys. I actually think Hasbro achieved a pretty good mix on this figure. I can't say I don't see their point. I actually do like the Darth Maul that we got that was all plastic. So I do like it either way. But I don't think this was a bad mix using soft goods on Kylo Ren in the previous version. Of course, you can see they did the same again here. So no complaints from me on that part. There are a few minor changes to the figure, and of course some new paint apps and texture detail in the base as well. And I think they did a fabulous job on the base. I think it just looks awesome. But let's take a closer look. Take a look at accessories. Here's the lightsaber that came with Kylo Ren. I will say this is all one solid piece of plastic, and I know a lot of people did not like the energy version we got before, where this piece popped out. I will say this one has a more vibrant red on the new one, but I don't like this whole, it's made as one solid piece and the plastic's just painted over to give it the hilt look on it. I think this one's definitely more detailed. And looks better in my opinion. Now, I do like this color. It's definitely more red, where this is more orange on the older version. And you can see the differences hopefully there. A little bit of paint detail in there. There's a red stripe through there that we didn't get on this one. And then the ends are both painted red at the bottom. But then in comparison to the extra piece, and our new one came with another hilt. And you can see here, since this blade is not removable, you have to use this one. And I believe this is the same hilt that we got before. It doesn't have the energy piece in here that pops out. So, and this one just pops off like so. So you can see there's the two side by side. This is the old one, this is the new one. And this one actually got more detail in it. Red dots at the bottom on both, but it has this red stripe that, we had not seen, and some gold paint apps in there, which that one actually does too. But it almost looks like a different lightsaber if you look at the two of them together here. And my fingers are kind of covering up. But looking at the hilts, they almost look different. So I'm not sure which one is more screen accurate. Of course, the two that came in this set, match each other. And then the one that came from the other set does not. So, I don't know. But I do like the way this all fits together on the old one more. And it's removable, and I actually like the energy that kind of pours over it, because if you've seen the trailers, this is not a clean lightsaber. So I have to go with the old one. I just wish it had more of the red color of the new one in it. Anyway, looking at the base, I know all of you want to take a look at this thing. The first thing that'll stand out is there's no pegs for peg holes in the feet. He just stands in there, which, is kind of cool if you're displaying the base, and have him off of it. And I guess it can look like he's just made footprints in there. But they used a clear blue plastic, and you can see here it's kind of hollow on the back side. And then it has a lot of texture in it. Nice texture. The footprints in the snow looking really good. You can see some tracks or more footprints up in here. All sculpted in. And then they did this white, and then this white overspray, I guess, in parts of the area where it's, lighter. And I actually think it looks really cool. I'm going to try and dim the lights here just a bit so you can kind of get the look of it a little better. And it's really blue, when you dim the lights. But when the light's shining on it, it definitely has an icy look to it. And looks really cool. So I think they did a tremendous job here with the base. I'm digging that. And as we take a closer look at Kylo himself, looking pretty good overall, I got to say. Same sculpt here in the head, that we got before. And I like what they did with it. It's kind of dinged up and it's kind of sculpted in, that it's been, roughed up a little bit. Some nice paint apps, got some silver brushes, strokes over the top there. You see the back, some nice texture in it. It looks like it's been dinged up, a little chip out of the front there. And I like this silver that they used in the mask here around the front. It just looks good. I like it. I think he looks badass. Anyway, the hood is more easy to pull back on this one than my other one for some reason, so you can actually display them like this with the hood down, which I think is pretty cool and probably how I'll display this one. But it doesn't turn, the hood doesn't turn as well with this head as it does on my other either, so it's kind of a trade-off. You can see some nice silver paint apps on the belt, and that belt does move around. And I like this texture in the cloth. I liked it before. That pattern that they gave us in there. Some nice ribs sculpted into the arms, just like we saw on the other one. And you can see a little different gestures to the hands. And we'll compare them side by side here shortly, but I believe that's a little different on the hand sculpting as well. But I like that paint choice they use. It gets really high gloss here at the end of the gloves from the ribs down, and then it's more of a matte down through there, which I like. I think that's cool looking. Looking at the back here, you can see this is all plastic. Some great sculpting in here. Looks distressed, looks torn and tattered. And there's the back of the figure there. Really the only shades of white are when we get to the bottom down here. It would have been cool to get a little bit on the arm. Maybe he's got some snow in some other places on him. But you can see they use that white overspray. And it's just around the bottom of the cloth here. And it's a little bit too perfect with the dots almost. I think I would have preferred it with just a dot here or there and then this white shading on it. But, overall, especially from a distance on the base, it looks really cool. So, I like that overall. Just looking at the bottom underneath here, same thing we saw on the previous figure. Nice ribbing. This is not painted with any white on it at all. So I don't know if that picks it up, but this is just like it was before. It's all black. It's a matte. And then looking under here, you can see the legs. Same thing as before. Let me get that out of the way. Just a matte finish down through here until you get to the boots, and then they have that glossy look to them. And then they use the white overspray, of course, on the boots, and I think they did a good job with that. It actually looks pretty good. Definitely has that snow look on the boots, all the way, and they didn't skimp out on the back. You can still see there is some there on the back. Not as much, of course, but it is there. And there's peg holes that we don't need on the bottom of the feet. So looking good overall, I gotta say. And moving on to articulation. One thing I want to point out right off the bat is, like I said, when you move the head on this one, the hood doesn't really rotate. And the other one, it actually rotated perfectly. I had no problems. But I think there's a different joint in this head, because on my other one, on the previous version, I could actually get a little bit of head movement, and this thing will not move forward or backward at all. It will only rotate around. So obviously they've changed something in there, or maybe I got a bad figure. Who knows? But anyway, upper arm move out that far. It does rotate all the way around. No rotation at the upper arm. It does have a single jointed elbow that does rotate. Hinge on the hand moves out a good bit, moves in somewhat. Ab crunch moves in that far. It actually does crunch back a pretty decent amount. It does have waist rotation, but it's hindered by the cloak. Like I said, that belt does spin around so you can get it fixed. Legs will move out, and let me pull this back. Legs will move out about that far. It does have upper leg rotation, which is a little bit tight. Has double jointed knees in there, and it will kick out a great amount. And we'll move back only about that much. It does have a rocker on the foot, you can see there, and does have the hinges up like so and down like so. So, overall decent articulation except for the head. Okay, and here are two Kylo Rens compared to each other, and there are a few differences. Like we talked about, the hands are different. You can see here he's got an open gesture where this one's more closed. And actually has some additional paint apps on these fingers that this one does not. Also the lightsabers that we discussed. And then the white, of course, the addition for the Starkiller base down here on the bottom and on the boots. Other than that, the paint is virtually the same, except in one area that I did notice, and it's the belts. And I'm not sure why, but this one actually has a brighter silver paint app inside the buckle. Whereas on the new Kmart exclusive, they actually painted the buckle in a darker silver and left the middle black. So I'm not sure which one's more screen accurate. I guess we'll see when the movie comes out. The other difference that I did notice is what they did with the cloth. For this figure, it looks like they pulled the cloth up more and made it shorter here at the bottom. You see this drapes down longer and gave him more hood. You can see there's a lot more hood to be had here, a lot more room in there for his head than on this one. Is more tight, and you can see it's a lot longer. Now, the one thing I will say that it kind of presents a problem is I think people will like this look more, the big wide open hood to this one. But this one actually moves really well, and I have no problems with it, with the head turning with the hood, whereas like I described earlier, this one is a real pain in the butt when you start turning that hood. So, maybe an amalgamation between the two would have worked, maybe where it's a little bit longer than this and a little tighter on the hood. But who knows? And here's our Kylo Ren compared to a couple other Star Wars baddies with our Captain Phasma here in the middle and our Darth Maul that we mentioned earlier here on the right. And as you can see, very little in soft goods on this Darth Maul there. And wrapping up here our review, I've got to say overall I like the figure and the base. As far as the figure goes, I like the previous version of Kylo Ren. I think they did a great job with it. I like this version as well. I like the white edition at the bottom. It's not perfect, but it does the job. The only complaint I really have on the figure is the fact that the head movement is not quite the same as it was before. Paint apps and everything still look great on it, and I like the addition of the open hand and the lightsaber as well with the new color. I'd prefer the old lightsaber, but this one still looks good and I still like it. Now reviewing the base itself, I think Hasbro did a great job with sculpting. I like the choice of materials they used with it and the paint. I think it all is great. And I do like the aesthetic of his feet sinking in the snow. It looks really cool with the lack of peg holes. I think from a display option, it looks cool, but it doesn't allow for a lot of dynamic posing. I think if they had had peg holes on top of the base, I think you'd have been able to get him in a lot more poses. This makes it where you have to stand his feet in a certain position to pose him. Now, so that's just going to be, personal preference there, on what you like more. But anyway, overall, I got to rate the figure as a buy. I think it is a great figure for the price if you can get it at that price. I think paying scalper prices for this figure, I think, is ridiculous. I don't think there's enough value in this figure to pay those high prices, and I know he's been hard to get. There is a rumor that Kmart will have this figure available in store if you weren't able to pre-order him fairly soon. Some people are speculating it could be for the Thanksgiving holiday or for the Thanksgiving or Black Friday sale. And, maybe he's even cheaper then. So, if you can score him at that price or at regular price, I say jump on the figure. It's a good addition with the base and a cool figure overall. If you've got to pay higher prices, then I say it's definitely a pass on the figure. There's not enough value or enough added to the figure to pay crazy high scalper prices on this thing. So, hope you guys enjoyed the review. If so, please give me a big thumbs up. If you like the content I'm putting out, please subscribe or please share the video. We're definitely trying to build an audience. I know it's been Star Wars heavy lately, but I promise I do have more reviews coming your way on different items and not just Black Series or Star Wars items. With that said, I'm thinking about adding a video into the mix each week and up the video load to maybe 4 from 3. So we'll see how that goes. Toy Art, Facebook, and Twitter. Links in the description below as always. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for all the kind comments I've gotten lately. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. So, hope you have a great week, and we'll see you soon.